Back in my senior year of high school, a bunch of us were obsessed with sneaking out at night to do stupid stuff. We thought we were invincible, and rules just didn't apply to us. One Friday night, my buddy Dean convinced me to head out with him and two girls from our English class. The plan was simple: drive out to Hollow Cove, a stretch of rocky shoreline that was supposedly haunted, and hang out there for a while. I wasn't exactly thrilled about the haunted reputation, but Dean promised me the view of the stars alone would make it worth it. Plus, one of the girls, Rachel, was someone I'd had my eye on for months. So I went along. We piled into Dean's old Jeep around 10:30 and headed out. The girls were laughing in the back, and for a while, it felt like just another dumb teenage adventure. But the closer we got to the cove, the quieter everyone became. The road twisted through thick forest, and the deeper we went, the more it felt like we were leaving the world behind. When we finally parked near the cliffs, it was silent, except for the faint crash of waves below. No cars, no people, not even the sound of crickets. Just this unnatural stillness. The four of us climbed down toward the rocks, flashlights in hand. The ocean spread out, black and endless in front of us, and the moonlight barely lit the waves. Dean, always the brave one, suggested we sit near the edge of the water. We talked, joked, even dared each other to dip our feet in. But after a while, Rachel froze mid-sentence and pointed. "Do you see that?" she whispered. I followed her gaze out to the water. At first, I thought it was just driftwood bobbing in the tide. But no, this thing was upright, tall, unnaturally tall. A figure just standing there in the surf, not moving, not speaking. Dean laughed it off, said it was probably a surfer messing with us. But the longer we watched, the more wrong it felt. The figure didn't shift with the waves. It just stood there, rigid, like it was staring straight at us. We decided to move farther down the shoreline, pretending we weren't rattled. The girls clung to us as we walked, and I'll admit, I was glad they did, because something about that thing in the water chilled me to the bone. A few minutes later, we sat back down on the rocks. For a while, it was almost peaceful again. Then came this sound, faint splashing, steady, deliberate, like someone walking in the shallow water. We swung our flashlights out toward the ocean. That same figure was there again, only closer. Rachel whispered, "That's not a person." And the way she said it, like she already knew, made my skin crawl. Dean muttered under his breath, then stood up, probably to prove he wasn't scared. He cupped his hands around his mouth and shouted something like, "Hey, you good out there?" No reply. The figure didn't even flinch. It just stood, half in shadow, half in moonlight. Then came this scream. It wasn't human, not even close. It was this guttural, warped sound that echoed across the water. Half human wail, half animal snarl. The girl shrieked, and I swear my heart stopped. Dean, finally spooked, grabbed us and yelled that we had to leave. We scrambled back up the rocks, tripping and cutting our hands on the jagged edges, but none of us cared. When we finally reached the Jeep, we all piled in, slamming the doors like kids thinking it would keep the monster out. Dean fumbled with the keys while that sound echoed again from the shoulder. As the headlights flicked on, we saw something move at the edge of the tree line, just past the beach. It wasn't standing anymore. It was crawling, its long limbs jerking unnaturally as it crept along the rocks. Dean floored it, and we tore out of there without a word. Nobody spoke on the ride back, and even when we dropped the girls off, they barely said goodbye. Later that night, Dean texted me a single message: "We are never going back there again." And we didn't. To this day, I don't know what we saw. A person? A creature? Something worse? All I know is that every time I hear the ocean late at night, I swear I can hear that same scream echoing in my head.